Okay, today is May 26th, 2019, and right now at 10:15 p.m. we have a temperature of 51 degrees here in the foothills of Los Angeles. It's been about between 50 and 53 degrees pretty much all day long. We've had uh, about a quarter inch of rain, quarter inch of precipitation today. Now we're looking at a weather system. Let's go and take a look at the water vapor loop. This is moving down the state of California. We can see this gigantic weather system right here, and we can see that a lot of moisture off of the jet stream is being blockaded right here. We have high pressure installed between this vortex and this approaching water vapor. But notice what's happening over here. This is where the hotel was knocked down, completely destroyed by a tornado, and I believe it was Oklahoma. Notice what's happening here. We have a tropical flow pattern. This is a warm, moist flow pattern, and no effort is being made to separate this flow pattern. In other words, they could just cut a path all the way through here to separate this warm tropical air from merging and creating these tornadoes right here. So we've got colder air. This is, like I say, it's 50 degrees. It's been very cold all day, so we've got a cold weather system. This came out of the right down the coast here. And so we see that a blockade has been built in here that is blocking everything moving in from the Pacific. But over here, nothing is being done about this warm tropical flow moving right into this colder weather system. And of course, that's going to cause a lot of thunderstorms and wild weather. So these terrorists controlling our weather are doing a fine job of regulating rain amounts here in California, even though we are getting rain. They're throwing us a few peanuts here and there. Like I say, we had about a quarter inch of rain today. We also had 3/32 last Wednesday. So that brings the season total up. I haven't totaled the quarter inch today, but we're up at 31.15 plus the 0.094 from the other day. So we're going to be close to 31 and about a half inch, 31 and a half inches here, pretty close to that. But notice this is a very large weather system. Once again, we have a blockade. High pressure has been installed right here, right along the west coast. That's going to redirect and evaporate all the moisture moving in on the jet stream. Let's go ahead and take a look at that jet stream right now. We have flow right here around this weather system. We also have a jet stream flow right across the central Pacific. And we have high-speed flow right here on this tropical flow, which is merging with this colder weather. That's being allowed to happen. And so looking at the satellite map here once again, we see that no effort is really being made to prevent all this wild weather activity right over here, which completely destroyed a hotel. But over here, if we look at the Doppler map, we can get this Doppler to work. We have very, very little rain here in California. We would expect to see a lot more rain on the Doppler map because of this gigantic counterclockwise spinning weather system right down the coast of California. This moved right down basically to the south, and we can see some angles right here, some straight edges right there. See that angle firming up right about right there. Okay, so let's take a look at some of these other maps here. Here's the pressure maps. We've got the, this is the sea level pressure. You see that we've got a closed low indicated right here where all of this wild weather activity is happening. So that's being allowed. We have a closed low being allowed right here where all this wild weather is. We've got the tropical flow merging with all of this activity here, but yet over here with this gigantic counterclockwise rotating low pressure system, there is no closed low over here. There's no closed low at the surface level. In fact, there is no low indicated right here on the surface map. Let's go ahead and look at the 500 millibar map. We see that we have a closed low, and we see some squiggly lines. This is where the transmitters are working. A transmitter is working to maintain a blockade through here, and also we've got ground transmitters working in this area. All right, so let's look at the 300 millibar map. We see a lot more squiggly lines here. We've got a closed low. Got high pressure installed in this area. We can see that ridge right here. All right, let's take another look at this Doppler map. And you can see the entire picture much better. So we've got a lot of, get this thing to work here. Okay. We can see all that wild weather over here, over Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, and South Dakota. In this area here, Oklahoma, is where that hotel was completely destroyed. Over here, we would expect to see a lot of rain, much like what we're seeing here, thunderstorms and so forth. But really nothing over here. That's just really amazing. Okay. There is the water vapor loop. This is a different map, but we see what's happening there. This is where all the activity, this is really where all the weather is happening, and nothing, nothing is being done to prevent that. We can see the manipulation occurring here. We've got high pressure installed right out here. We can see that clockwise rotation. What needs to happen here is this area right here needs to be cut off. This warm tropical flow should have been cut off. This blockade here should have extended all the way out across the country. That would have cut off the warm water supply to this weather system. This is going to be a hellraiser. Okay, so that's the report. Let's go ahead and look at some of these other articles I have, or just items to look at. This is something that everybody should take a look at. This is from the Epoch Times. Just look up the Epoch Times on a search engine. That'll take you to their website. This is a chart showing the all of the actors involved in the frame job that's been going on, the Russian collusion hoax that has been going on the last 2.5 years. Actually, this spy activity, this illegal spying activity has been going on for years, going back to about 2005, at least on Donald Trump, President Trump. And that's really the big news that's being covered up. So we've got illegal spying going on since 2005 on Donald Trump. And there are some articles that everybody should see. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these other articles here. Now, this is from the AmericanReport.org. The AmericanReport.org. This is a fellow, I've mentioned this guy's name before, Dennis Montgomery. He was a contractor that worked for the NSA, the FBI, and that explains all that here in this text. But this is really the big news that's not being covered on television. This fellow here exposed the illegal spying operation, and what he did is he collected 47 hard disk drives full of something around 700 or 800 million pages of documents showing that the FBI, or rather that the CIA and the NSA have been illegally spying on Americans for many years, including Supreme Court justices and governors of the various states, politicians, and of course President Donald Trump. Now, hopefully the declassification of all these documents will prove some of what's going on. Now, this part of the story may be not entirely told because it exposes so much. Okay, so this is a real problem. That the mainstream media fake news has not really reported on the declassification of all the documents, which took place on the 24th, I believe it was, May 24th. We've not seen much news on that on the local news around here in Los Angeles or on the internet, including the Drudge report. You would expect that Drudge would have put up a giant red headline for a couple of days after the declassification occurred, but that didn't happen. And I've always wondered about Drudge anyhow. But the point is that this spying operation, this is the biggest scandal probably in the entire nation's history, and it is being downplayed. The left side of the aisle is coming up with all sorts of excuses. They are denying. Here we have a couple of receipts for all the hard drives that were given to the FBI of all people. This was handed over to, of all people, James Comey. So hopefully Dennis Montgomery made himself copies of his evidence, because it's doubtful any of this will ever be seen again. But this is something to read right here, theamericanreport.org. And let's go ahead and see what else we have here. That's about it for the articles today. Check that out. Very interesting stuff. And of course, the Epic Times, which is right here. This has to be, you got to check this out. This is very interesting. This shows all the people involved in the cover-up. This is a gigantic conspiracy. Certainly, looking at the organization of all of this and how this was orchestrated in part by the mainstream fake news media, they played a huge part in the in facilitating this cover-up, and also the allegations that Trump and his people colluded with Russians. The whole thing is an absolute joke. It's a hoax. And so the Epic Times, look this one up on the internet. This is a great website. They put up videos on the internet, so check that out. And hopefully we will get to the bottom of this, and also get to the bottom of what's happening with our weather right here, and why these tornadoes are being allowed to happen when in fact we have the technology to stop all this. We've shown the hurricanes being superheated and destroyed. All this could be prevented right here. All this. That's not happening. Okay, so that's the update for tonight. We'll try to get another one here tomorrow. We'll just leave it right here. See that there's no effort is being made to completely cut off this warm water supply right through here. They just have to continue this high pressure all the way through there and just cut it off. It's not happening. Okay, that's it.